Hello everyone out there, this is HK Fanatic, and I wanted to give you a quick look at the inside of my tricorder while I was going to be working on it, so you could see, take a look at some of the work I had to do it. As you can see, there is now quite a bit more wiring on the inside of the unit than considerably there was. And here you can see where I've had to grind away a large area of material here to enable a lot of these wires to run down. It can be kind of a pain in the butt. You have to make sure you have decent solder connections. One thing I recommend before you add LEDs is to take the LED itself, like I've done here, and pre-solder your wires to it before you insert them into the location where you're going to place your LED, and that's up to you where you're going to drill your hole. Again, I used a Dremel and simple Dremel tools. The glue that I use is simple Gorilla Glue. I like it because it dries fairly quick and enables you to keep on working without having to wait a long time. As you can see, only problem with epoxy is when it sets, you have to keep an eye on it while it's setting, because it's going to shift, it's going to contract, and when it contracts it could make your LEDs come out a little bit, well, not the way you had them aligned originally. Use good resin core solder, I recommend that. Get yourself a decent set of little dikes for cutting the pins off of the LEDs. And LEDs, fortunately, are not ESD sensitive. Just be careful when you're not making contact with your board too much. I mean, there's not a lot on these boards that can really, that you can really damage. And find your basic solder points on the board that actually control signals, that actually send out the signals. For example, all the 3 LEDs are controlled from these 3 points here, your positive and negative points. You can weld directly to them and send wires to your LEDs, which might help. Again, also kind of tape your wires out of the way with a little piece of tape that acts as an insulator. And be careful with these LEDs. Don't test them with anything above their rated level. Like, for example, these LEDs are rated to about 3 volts. I tested one of them real quick on a little 9 volt, a regular 9 volt battery, and it lit, but it lit orange. So whatever color it is, once you oversaturate it, it's going to just glow orange until it actually pops, till the actual conductor inside gives out, and it goes. Remember, light emitting diode is basically just a light that it emits the light through the diode with a very small conducting bridge inside. So it can burn out like a light bulb, which is a problem I had here. My very bottom light bulb was one of the ones I accidentally tested. I was testing for the polarity on it with a battery that was too powerful, and even though it still worked, it went out. And now with everything epoxied in, it's going to be impossible to take it out, so I'm just going to leave it. It's a single red bulb in the bottom. The 2 red LEDs on top emit a lot of light and illuminate it anyway, but still, it's kind of difficult now. I'd have to go in there and grind out all the epoxy. Just it's not worth it. Just leave one in there. And I intend to continue adding. As you can see, I drilled here. I drilled a hole here to enable me to put the LED in and epoxy it in place. Again, there's no real method for what order you want to put the LEDs. I tried to follow the pattern on the decal, but again, it's up to you. Anyway, I'm about to insert the final LED. I've already replaced one here, and as you can see, I epoxied it. And here are the fresh welds, or actually the fresh solder joints I made. Not the best in the world. Let me see if I can get a good shot here with the macro. This camera's quality is not the best. I only paid about $100 for it, but now anyway, typical of the soldering you're going to see on a lot of these. Just try to make it as even as possible. Heat the point you're going to solder before you do it. Sometimes it does. Well, the light's not bright enough in here. But you want to heat the actual pin with the soldering gun, then apply the solder to the tip and the area you're heating, so a little bead of solder will basically adhere to the metal, let it dry. Then you can come back with whatever you're going to contact on there and solder it. And when you're done, test your leads. I mean, hook it up to power and make sure that the LED still works before you end up with a surprise. Well, that's it for this module. Just wanted to let you see the inside of it a little bit. I'm going to try to get some organized plans together so that whoever wants to do one themselves will be able to have a little bit less of a chaotic time than I did putting this one together. So until the next module, this is HK Fanatic, out.